Hello and welcome back to the Python programming series dedicated for kids and beginners. In the first video, we saw the relevance of Python and we also did a local Python setup. In this video, we shall be learning the first building blocks of Python, which are variables and data types. Let's get started. Let's understand variables with the help of an analogy. So we have a box, and box is a container for some goods, and similar to box we have a variable, and a box would be having a label and a variable has a variable name. Box contains some goods and the variable contains some information. This information is stored in computer memory. So if you see, there are a lot of similarities between a box and a variable, which would be made more clear once you see this in action. The formal definition of variable, it's a symbolic name or identifier that represents the location in computer's memory where a value can be stored. And variables are used to store and manipulate data in the program. And this point would keep on coming. The Python is a dynamically typed language, which means that we need not declare the type of variable explicitly. If you just say x is equal to 3, it is understood automatically by the interpreter, Python interpreter, that x is an integer and it contains a value 3. You need not write int x equal to 3. Let's continue with the box analogy which we had for variables. Now boxes can be of different types. They can contain different things, and these containers can be of different types. It could be something for containing a solid, a liquid, probably in some cases a gas. So different kind of containers which I have shown here: box, bottle, ice container, a glass container, a egg container. So all these containers are meant for keeping different kind of stuff. So similar to that different kind of stuff, we may be having different kind of data which is there. So if we have different kind of data, the data container should also be different, and that's what is a data type. It defines what kind of data is there inside that data type. The formal definition of the data type is a classification that specifies the type of data the variable can hold. These are some of the basic or primitive data types which are there. Integer, which can contain any integer value. Float, which can contain any floating point value with decimals. String, which is for any string, which is like name, a sequence of characters that can be stored in string. And boolean is something which has a positive true or a false value, 0 or 1, or we can say true or false value. That is a boolean. Let's see the concepts of variable in action now. I'll open a new notebook. And what we were saying is that variable is something which identifies a value. It is like a box which contains information. So x equal to 10. So what we are inferring here is that x is a variable which contains the value 10, which is an integer. The other thing which we said, that name, let's say John Doe. So this is another variable which is containing a string. We can have a boolean, and boolean would be defined by, let's say, is available, and the boolean would be having true or false. So I can say true, or I can say false also, and there could be some floating point. So floating point is described by, for example, pi can contain the value 3.14. So these are variables. We will be seeing functions in the upcoming lessons, but let's see two functions. Functions is something which is helping us to derive some functionality, and we will see in detail what exactly it means. But for now, if in case you have to print anything, any value of anything, you can use print function. So for example, if I say print x, it will tell me x is 10. Same thing I can do with the name also. I can say print name. I can say print pi. I can also say print is available. Okay, and if I execute them, This is what it says. There is another function which is a very good thing to understand at this point, which is called a type. And what it does is it will give us the data type of these specific variables which we have created. For example, let's say x. Okay. And if I say this, it says it's a int. Okay. And same goes for others also. So I say print. So this is giving me the data type, and here also I have to put a print statement to have this printed. So let me get this printed. So we get the different data types which were there for these variables. So this is a int, this is a structure, this is a float, and this is a boolean. I have opened the command prompt now. This is called terminal in Mac OS. In Windows it shall be called command prompt, and I can say Python 3 and press enter, and I would be seeing the Python console here and the variables I can create here. So for example, x equal to 4. I can do some basic calculations here. For example, x plus 5, and it will tell me that x plus 5, because x was 4, so 5 plus 4 is 9. And similarly, whatever we did it on the Colab, similar to that, we can do similar things here. Pi equal to 3.14, and if I just say type pi, it should tell me that it is a float type. Additionally, for this course, we have to understand two more data types, list being the first one. So list is a ordered sequence of elements. So we can correlate with the help of to-do list. We write the stuffs in sequence. We may be having a checklist, vehicle checklist, which a vehicle servicing engineer would be using for servicing the vehicle. So these are the examples of the list, and this kind of thing can be stored very easily in a list data type. So the second additional data type is the dictionary, and dictionary is for storing key value pairs. You can correlate with the word dictionary, the language dictionary which you may be using, wherein the key is the word and the value is the meaning of that word. So we have a key and a value in dictionary. Now let's see the list data type in action. So like I said, list contains an ordered list of things. So let's say the name of the list is my list, and it contains some values. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can also contain different kind of data. So I can also different data types I meant. So I can also put apple, I can say oranges. So after execution of this command, the list is defined, and we can do similar kind of things which we had done in the past, which means, let me quickly add some code cells. So which means that I can say print, and I should be able to see that it is a list. Okay, and now if we have to access the elements of this list, how can I access the elements? So we have to understand that the list is zero based. So there is a concept of indexing, which means the relative position of the element in the list. So the index of the first element would be 0, the next one would be 1, the next one would be 2, and subsequently it goes on. So it starts from 0 and you add one more to it, and you get the index of any specific element. So if I have to access, let's say, the first element, then what I will be doing is first element would be the name of the list first and the index, and like I said earlier, the index starts with 0 based index. So that would be, if I have to print this, it will print 1, because 1 is the first element. And similarly, I can access some other elements. Let's say that third element, if I have to access third element. Now we have to remember that we don't have to call 3 here. Third element would be indexed 2, because the indexing starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2. This is the third element. So if I print, I shall be seeing the third element which is there. Now if there is a concept of reverse indexing. Let's say that you have to access the last element. You have to sequence the element from the last, meaning from the last side. So what you can do is, you can say, so if I print, I would get oranges. So if I want to access the second last element, I can start with addition of -1, and I would be getting, this would be -1, -2, -3, like that. So which means that we are counting from the back side of the list. Another important concept is the concept called slicing. Okay, slicing. So what is this hash which I have put? Hash is meant for comments, and if you have multi-line comments, which means the comment is in multiple lines, we are learning data types starting with primitive and graduating with complex. So this is like in multiple lines. So for multiple lines, you put 3 single quotes and it will be multiple lines, multi-line comment. Now there is a concept of slicing. So what does that slice means is that if in case you have to create a subset of this list, you can quickly do it with the help of slicing. So let's say I want to create a subset, and I want to take elements, let's say from 1 to 3. So this is like, this is included, the first element is included, but the last element is not included. This is how you have to define the subset. If you would be printing the subset now, you can see that it started with the first element and it extended till the third element. What is the other thing which is important for list? That is appending elements. And that is very simple. You can say my list dot append and let's say kiwi. And if you print my list now, so I have added it, I have executed it multiple times. So every time I execute, it adds one more kiwi. So there is a possibility of adding duplicates in a list. Okay, remember that you can have duplicates in a list. Now we can update some of the element. For example, if I say my list dot 5 equal to, let's say lemon. So I can see that the fifth index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been replaced from orange to the lemon. Another important thing is to get the length. So I can say, so this is a function which I'm using, and I would say my list, and what it shall be giving is the length of, if I print this, now I get the length of this list. This is 11 elements are there in the list. Okay, these are the basic functions in the list, and we will see more functions as they come. Now let's go to the other thing, which was dictionary. So if we have to define a dictionary, you have to say something like this. You have to say name, which is a key, and then you have to give the value. Say, let's say Sam. Then let's say age, let's say 12 years. Okay, and let's say city. So what we have defined is a dictionary which has 3 keys and 3 values. What are the keys? Name, age, and city are the keys, and the value of that specific, for example, for name, the value is Sam. For age, the value is 12. For city, the value is New York. Remember that in a dictionary, you cannot have duplicates. So let me do one thing. Let me print this. So this is the list right now. If I just copy this whole thing and then I print it again, I would have city as Toronto. So what has happened is the city keys value has been replaced by Toronto. We cannot have duplicates in dictionary. Again, for accessing the value, so how to access the value? So you would be giving the name of the dictionary, which is my dict, and you would be saying the key. So key is, let's say, age. I want to print the age, so it shall be printing the age. So if we have to update the value, I can simply say my dict saw and the key name, let's say name, and I say now the name is replaced by John. And if you have to add new key value, so for adding a new key value, you have to write the name of the dictionary and you have to write the name of the key. Let's say occupation, and let's say student. So we can see that the dictionary has been updated and there is a new key by the name occupation has been added in the dictionary. As they say, practice makes a man perfect. So I'm leaving with you some exercises which you can do quickly. The first one is on the variable assignment and printing. Details are here. The second is on the lists, and the third one is on the dictionary. Whatever are the exercises, they are all covered in the session, and you should be able to do it at your own pace. Remember that these exercises are must for you to complete before you can go to the next session. Thank you.